Why is it that we feel disgruntled a lot of the time, whether at work or at home? It's something called the Maslow paradox. How many people, by round of applause, are familiar with the Maslow pyramid? Okay. All right, good. So a lot of us are, some of us may not be, but this man, Maslow, talked about how there are several needs that we all have. The very basic being the physiological. You have to eat, all your 5 basic things of water, food, air, clothing, shelter, all of that. And then it ladders all the way up to self-actualization. Now, at our level, now we're not all on the same level, but at our socioeconomic status or so, we have kind of a high starting point, right? I mean, and that's a gift and a curse. And they say to whom much is given, much is expected. So the higher we are on the Maslow hierarchy of needs, maybe it is harder to find happiness, because to me, happiness is about the delta, right? When I'm the child of immigrants, so sometimes when I will see it from this perspective, it's a little bit clear. I'll see a janitor and I won't see a guy mopping up a floor. Well, I will see a guy mopping up a floor, but I'll also see somebody who may have come here from India, from Ireland, from any of the other 7 countries that start with the letter I, and if you're bored, you can work on that. But anyone who comes here, he may be, or she may be, raising a family, the breadwinner, and might be killing the game right now, whereas I was born into privilege, and maybe I haven't done that much with my life. So it's a little bit hard sometimes for us to find this if you came in to a loving family or having self-esteem, that getting to the last part feels like I haven't really done anything with my life. It doesn't seem like I've really moved very far. That actually leads me directly to the 4th tip, which is manage your energy. This is a big one. People forget this a lot because we're used to considering money and time as resources. I live in LA, I go to San Francisco a lot, and it's always this big conundrum. Do I drive or do I fly? And everybody does the math, they look at the gas prices, they look at how much the ticket costs, they look at the time, they look at the traffic, but they don't think about how they'll feel when they get there, right? If you drive, which I've made that drive many times, you might be exhausted by the time you get there. That's energy. That's an important part of it, because people will oftentimes talk about a straight shot, because they'll say that, oh, LA to San Francisco, it's a straight shot. I'm like, well, the moon is a straight shot. That doesn't mean it's close. It's really far away. What do you mean a straight shot? But as I've gotten older, I realize what that means. There are fewer turns. There's less you have to think about. You just shoot up the five, because I live in LA, so I won't say 5, the 5, and then you'll realize that, okay, I know what people mean now. So that is all part of the energy. And also manage your energy by replenishing. This is what I was talking about our parents' generation. They oftentimes did not take breaks. They really valued the fact that they could work for hours and hours and hours. But you probably heard the story of some, what is it, the 2 people who are chopping wood, and somebody's chopping for like 10 hours, and the other person chopped for maybe 6. But she chopped way more wood than the person over here. Why? Because she sharpened the saw. Right? She would go and she would sharpen the saw. That's what relaxation time is. That's what vacation time is. One of my brothers, one of the ones I showed you there, Vikas, he's a VP of Heineken in New York City, so he has a lot of fun. And he has a theory on this, not just a theory, a practice on this. He always has his next vacation booked. Even if it's 6 months out, he loves having it on his calendar. He put the money down, it makes it real. Reduce miscommunication. I made a number of changes to my style, and this has saved me a lot of frustration. One of them is to find out if your manager or your audience, do they like to read first or listen first? This is a big one, because sometimes people like to read first. They want an email in their inbox, they want to go through all the charts and the attachments, and then they want a meeting. Other people are completely other way around. They're like, no, don't talk to me in the hallway, okay? Go ahead and, they want to be cornered in the hallway. Some people do, and some people want it the other way around. And that miscommunication happens all the time. They're like, well, I wish you would have just talked to me about it first without sending me all of this stuff. And some people like it the other way around. So I think that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind. Closing the loop with people is really, really effective. A lot of time people will introduce me to people. It happens a lot in entertainment, but it happened a lot in engineering too, where I wanted a mentor, or I wanted some advice from somebody. Go back and close the loop with the person who made the introduction. People don't do that a lot of the time. Like, oh, what happened with that thing? Did that happen? And if you go back and you say, hey, thanks, I ended up meeting with David and we had a great conversation, that will go a long way to relationship building. I'm not going to play this clip because it's been seen 26 million times on YouTube. You've probably seen it. If not, maybe you've heard of it. You can YouTube it. It's called It's Not About the Nail. And it is a great conversation between a man and a woman about whether she wants him to solve her problems or not. But one of my managers at the Page had a great philosophy. So when I sat down with him, he had all these rules for engagement of how to work with him and for him. And he goes, well, you work for me, so I can wear 3 hats. He goes, when you come to my office, I'm your boss. I have an evaluator hat on. So when you bring a memo to me and you present it to me, I'm evaluating you. That is my job. I am your boss, okay? You could fix that. I can wear another hat. It's called sounding board. All you had to do when you came in here was write draft at the top of it. And I will be a sounding board for you. I will help you craft this memo. We'll go back and forth. I may still be evaluating you because I'm your boss, but at the same time, you've lowered the expectation because you haven't presented it as a formal, finished document. Because the third hat I wear is called venter. You want to come in here, it's a Friday afternoon, and you just want to put your feet on my desk, put your hands behind your head, and talk about how much this place sucks. I'm down. I'm down to do that with you. If you want to just vent and get it off your chest, but you got to tell me that's what you're doing. And it works in personal relationships too. I've done this with my wife. It works. I mean, I can't wear an evaluator hat. She made that very clear. She goes, no evaluator hat. You don't get to wear that one, okay? But she goes, this is really helpful sometimes, where I go, I just wanted you to listen, right? People say that all the time. All I wanted was, sometimes you just want someone to put their arm around you and go, that really sucks. I'm sorry you're going through that. That's all I needed. I didn't need you to try to fix it, okay? But other times, I do want your input. Well, tell me that then. Tell me that that's what you wanted. And I think that will avoid a lot of miscommunications and prevent a lot of divorces, I think. This is big, and I have to remember this one. This is hard for me too. Don't asterisk your accomplishments. You don't know the circumstances of others' accomplishments either. And I had to learn this because I'd be like, oh yeah, I opened for Dave Chappelle, or I opened for Joe Coy, or I opened for Russell Peters, but that's only because I met him here. It's only because I met this person there, or I ran into her here. Or then I would see all these other comedians doing something. I'm like, oh, well, I remember that because they just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Well, right, that's what you were. So you don't have to hold yourself to the standard of saying everyone else achieved something you didn't. You don't know the circumstances of their achievements. And there's a TED Talk given, never compare your insides to someone else's outsides. And this is very easy to do on LinkedIn, on Instagram, because you're going through everybody's feed and you're saying, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything. You know, I had this man on my podcast, Isaac Saul. He now has a very successful political podcast. He's in the middle trying to find the balance between both sides. Good luck with that. And his podcast is really great. And he talked about that. He was in his office in Philadelphia and he's going home to see his wife and he's just excited about what he's doing. And then he gets on Instagram and he's going through all of his friends who are in Hong Kong and Turks and Caicos and looking at like sunny skies and the sunset. And he goes, oh my God, my life sucks. This office sucks. What am I doing here? Right? Because also you're comparing everyone else, not only their outsides, but all of your friends are, of course, going to be doing more than you are at any given time. You're one person, so you're comparing the additive effect of what everyone else is doing. That's everyone's experience. And sometimes people are later gramming too. They didn't just do that yesterday. They're spacing it out over time. So it's really, really important not to do that.